Big drama just hit the fight world. Rampage Jackson's son, Raja Jackson, has officially been arrested after the infamous Psycho Stew incident. TMZ Sports confirmed that Raja was booked on a felony charge Thursday morning before posting a $50,000 bail just hours later. With shocking footage of the arrest now circulating, fans are questioning not only the delay in charges but also what comes next for Raja's career and reputation. Meanwhile, over in the boxing world, Dana White's highly publicized Zuffa boxing debut was absolutely torched by none other than Oscar De La Hoya, who mocked White's promotion, his attempt to alter the Ali Act, and even his choice to skip most of his own undercard. And to top it off, we're closing in on the Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev rematch, with questions swirling about whether Pereira learned his lesson after critics say he didn't take their first fight seriously. The fight world is buzzing, and we've got all the latest updates right here. Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to MMA Desk and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking news, fight analysis, and behind-the-scenes drama. Alex Pereira's preparation for his first fight against Magomed Ankalaev is still being talked about today. Many people believe he did not give that fight the focus it deserved. One coach, who was watching Pereira closely during that camp, pointed out that Pereira seemed to be everywhere but in the gym. He was showing up at big UFC events around the world, smaller shows, and even things like karate combat. While traveling and training on the road might sound exciting, it is not the same as locking yourself in one place and going through a full fight camp. Preparing for someone as dangerous as Ankalaev requires careful planning, hard sparring, and focused strategy. Instead, Pereira gave the impression that he was splitting his attention. Even if he was training while traveling, it raised doubts about whether he was fully prepared for that fight. When the fight happened, it looked like Ankalaev was one step ahead all night. That performance left fans and coaches wondering if Pereira's distractions had cost him. Now, with their rematch coming up, the big question is whether Pereira will take things more seriously this time and make the adjustments needed to get the belt back. While that story was developing, Dana White found himself on the receiving end of some sharp words from one of his old rivals. Oscar De La Hoya went after Dana after his recent boxing event, saying the whole show looked unprofessional and poorly promoted. He mocked Dana's attempt to control the boxing world, saying that boxing is not like MMA and that fighters have more protections there. He even made fun of Dana's appearance at the event, saying his shirt looked like it was shrinking the longer he stood there answering tough questions. De La Hoya was especially upset at Dana's effort to get changes to the Ali Act, which was designed to protect fighters from unfair contracts. He accused Dana of trying to weaken those protections to make things easier for promoters. Dana also got called out for skipping the undercard of his own event and showing up late, only to be seen on his phone watching UFC instead of paying attention to the fights. For critics, it was proof that Dana wasn't really invested in boxing, and it made them wonder if his push into the sport was already falling apart. The fallout from the Canelo vs. Crawford fight added even more fuel to the drama. Before the fight, De La Hoya had doubted Crawford's chances. He thought Canelo would be too big and too powerful. But Crawford shocked the boxing world by moving up in weight and delivering a brilliant performance. Afterward, De La Hoya gave Crawford credit, but many fans saw it as hypocritical since he had been so dismissive earlier. In the MMA world, people started to wonder if Crawford could actually cross over and fight an MMA star. Some even floated the idea of Crawford facing Ilia Topuria. That might sound strange, but when Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather, the fight brought together both boxing and MMA fans and made huge money. If Crawford and Topuria ever shared a ring, it would likely do the same. Still, the idea has plenty of obstacles, since UFC fighters usually don't cross into boxing, and it's unclear if Crawford would want to fight someone outside his sport after such a huge win. In the meantime, changes were happening on upcoming UFC cards. A fight between Gabriel Bonfim and Randy Brown was supposed to take place, but reports said Brown was out. Jack Hermanson was rumored to be stepping in to face Bonfim instead. Another card set for December got a new matchup when Cesar Almeida was booked against Asaba Oleksuk. Almeida is riding a winning streak, while Oleksuk earned his way into the UFC with a strong performance on Dana White's Contender Series. Fans were excited to see how this fight would play out, since it matched a rising prospect against a fighter trying to prove he belongs on the big stage. On top of that, news came in about medical suspensions following recent fights. Jared Gordon and Jose Medina received 45-day suspensions. Dustin Stoltz and Diego Ferreira were sidelined for 60 days, while Dusko Todorovic and Cedric Dumas were suspended indefinitely. These suspensions are meant to give fighters time to heal and recover from injuries, but they also shake up the timing of future fight bookings. Outside the cage, UFC veterans were making headlines for different reasons. Maurice Green, who fought in the UFC's heavyweight division, announced that he was officially done fighting. Green said he had found a new passion in acting and even landed a role in a Jordan Peele movie. After more than 15 years of fighting, he decided it was time to focus on his family and his kids instead of pushing through another training camp. He admitted that people might say negative things about his career, but he was proud of what he accomplished. Kevin Lee, another UFC veteran, was in the news for a very different reason. He revealed that he was charged a shocking $31,000 for a hospital visit after a fight. Most of the cost came from CT scans, while the rest was for a short emergency room stay and ibuprofen. To make things stranger, Lee explained that he got the exact same scans in Florida later on and was only charged around $400. He shared his story online to highlight how broken the healthcare system can be, especially for fighters who often need medical care after matches. One fighter who is focused on the future is Mario Bautista. Bautista has been on a roll, winning 8 straight fights since 2021. After spoiling Patchy Mix's UFC debut, he now faces a tough test against Umar Nurmagomedov. Bautista believes that if he wins, he deserves a title shot in the Bantamweight division. He pointed out that a 9-fight win streak should be enough to put him next in line, especially since that's the same kind of run Morab Dvalishvili had before getting a title opportunity. Bautista hopes that if he beats Umar, Morab himself will support his call for a title shot. With the division stacked with talent, Bautista's next fight could make or break his chance to become a champion. Another interesting story came from Bogdan Guskov, who is now on a win streak in the UFC. He shared a wild memory from back in 2013 when he was working as a nightclub security guard in Moscow. At the time, Jon Jones and Alexander Gustafsson were in town to promote their first fight. Guskov recalled that Gustafsson left the club early to rest, but Jon Jones stayed until 5 a.m., drinking heavily and even wrestling on the floor with Frank Mir. The security staff didn't dare break it up, but Guskov was stunned to see a champion party like that right before a major fight. When asked what Jones was drinking, Guskov said simply, "Everything at the bar." Jones's reputation for partying has been no secret, and stories like this only add to the legend of his wild lifestyle outside the octagon. Michael Chandler also found himself in the spotlight again, but not in a good way. With Conor McGregor back in the UFC's testing pool, Chandler repeated his hope that they would finally fight. He even said he imagined the fight happening at the White House, calling it unfinished business between them, but many fans were quick to roast him online. They accused him of being obsessed with McGregor and desperate for a big payday. Memes were shared making fun of Chandler's repeated calls for the fight. Some said no one but him wanted it to happen, while others argued that the real fight fans want is McGregor versus Nate Diaz for a third time. The reaction showed how much Chandler's constant talk about McGregor has damaged his reputation. Instead of looking hungry to compete, some fans now think he just wants one huge paycheck before retiring. While Chandler was getting roasted, Bas Rutten was giving his thoughts on the UFC's planned event at the White House. Rutten said he believed Jon Jones should fight Tom Aspinall as the main event. He argued that every champion should be part of such a historic card, and that a Jones versus Aspinall matchup would be massive. It would be the first time the UFC held an event at the White House, and Rutten said the world would be watching. He admitted that Jones can be difficult when it comes to contract negotiations, but he hoped the UFC would give him the money he wants. Rutten called Jones possibly the greatest fighter of all time and said this kind of event would be perfect for him. Dana White, however, has been hesitant because Jones already turned down an offer to fight Aspinall after the UFC reportedly met his financial demand. Whether the fight happens remains uncertain, but fans would love to see it. The biggest headline of the week came from the arrest of Raja Jackson, the son of Rampage Jackson. A month after the infamous Psycho Stu incident, police finally arrested him on a felony charge. He was taken into custody at his apartment early in the morning, and TMZ released footage of the arrest later that day. His bond was set at $50,000, and by the next morning he had posted bail and was released. Many fans were shocked it took so long to arrest him, given the video evidence and witnesses from the altercation. Some said they hoped Rampage would not bail him out immediately, believing Raja needed to face consequences for nearly ending a man's life over what many called a pointless argument. Rampage himself had previously said his son should spend some time in jail and attend anger management to learn from his mistakes. Now that Raja is out on bail, people are wondering what the next steps will be and how this will affect both his career and his family's legacy in the fight world. The fight world never stays quiet for long, and this week proved that once again. From Alex Pereira's focus being questioned before his huge rematch, to Oscar De La Hoya tearing into Dana White's boxing efforts, the drama spans across MMA and boxing alike. Mario Bautista is on the rise, pushing for a title shot with a big win, while veterans like Maurice Green and Kevin Lee remind us of the highs and lows fighters face when the spotlight fades. Bogdan Guskov's story about Jon Jones partying shows just how wild the fight game can be behind the scenes, while Michael Chandler's obsession with Conor McGregor continues to divide fans. Bas Rutten sees history in the making with the White House card, imagining Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall headlining one of the biggest stages in sports. And of course, the shocking arrest of Raja Jackson has left fans stunned, raising questions about accountability and second chances. It's clear that every week in combat sports brings new twists, surprises, and controversies that keep fans glued to the action. Don't miss the latest stories, fight breakdowns, and breaking updates. Subscribe to MMA Desk and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop.